Welcome to our home buyer video, Is Buying Right for You Right Now? We would like to take a different approach to the subject of buying a home, and instead of trying to convince you to buy, let's see if buying is right for you right now. If we accomplish nothing more with this video than to help you protect the wealth you will have in your new home when you do buy, then the time you spend watching this video will be worthwhile. From a legal standpoint, there are a few things that we need to address before we begin. First, the information contained within this video is not to be construed as an offer to lend. The conversations regarding taxes are to be regarded as purely informational. Since we are not tax advisors, always consult your tax advisor about the tax ramifications of home ownership for your particular situation. The interest rates used are hypothetical and typical for the time frame the video was recorded. Rates and fees are subject to change. Basically, the premise of this video is to help you to better understand the home buying process while also outlining many of the advantages of owning a home. Why not begin with examining whether or not you are ready and able to buy? One major factor is, can you afford owning a house? The costs associated with owning a home are normally a little higher than when you rent. Your monthly housing costs are usually the same, if not higher, plus your utilities are usually higher. There are maintenance and upkeep things like watering the yard, mowing the lawn, fertilizing, landscape, paint, and don't forget you will also have homeowners insurance and property taxes every year. A recent survey found that 24% of consumers cited a lack of financial security as the primary obstacle to home ownership. So it's very important for you to assess your ability to pay your monthly bills now while having some money left over at the end of each month. Do you feel that you are pretty secure in your job? We live in a lower cost housing area, so there usually isn't the big difference between what you pay in rent and what a house payment would be. So our next area of concern is to determine if your current rent is more, is less, or is the same as the after-tax payment you would have on the house. Now, in order to help us keep everything equal in this analysis, we're going to compare your rent to the after-tax cost of 100% financing, because if you factored in a down payment, it moves the decision towards buying. We'll help you to calculate that if you like. If your rent is more or the same, the scales begin to tip towards purchasing a home. If your rent is lower than the after-tax cost of the house, then the scales are tipping towards continuing to rent. Next, you should consider your motivation or reason to buy. Are you buying the home as a short, medium, or long-term investment? Now, this is an extremely important analysis and could make the decision for you very easy. For example, if the market is soft with house prices staying flat or going down, and you are thinking you will be holding the real estate for a short period of time, then it would probably be better to rent. Whereas if you're thinking long-term, then even though the market may be slow or down, it could still make sense to buy. Sometimes the investment part is not a big deal to you, and instead it may be more of an intrinsic feeling like wanting to enjoy the American dream of home ownership. You may desire your own private space to get away from noisy neighbors. You're tired of carrying those groceries up the stairs or doing laundry at the laundromat, or maybe you want to have a backyard barbecue or have your own garage, or just to have your own private home away from the world. Now, these types of feelings will really tip the scale towards buying because they outweigh the investment decision. How much money do you have set aside for this investment? I know that all everybody talks about is how you can get into this new house for no money, and that's true. But in my many years in the business, this is one of the most important factors in having success after you buy a home. Too many people will buy with no financial cushion, or worse yet, put all of their savings into the house in the form of a down payment or to pay closing costs, thinking that this is the best place for that money. It has been my experience that you are much better off having a bigger mortgage with a slightly higher monthly payment while having more money in an account that you could easily access if you needed. Contrary to what tradition tells you, having several thousands of dollars in an emergency fund is a lot better and a lot safer for you than to have it tied up in the house in the form of equity. An important question for you to consider is, if you lost your job today, would you rather have $50,000 in equity in your house, or would you rather have $50,000 in an account that you could have easy access to? One aspect of determining the structure of your home financing is some serious misconceptions in the world today about financing. For instance, did you know that for every extra $1,000 you finance, it raises your payment about $7 per month? From a risk management perspective, and face it, folks, anytime you buy a house, you are trying to properly manage your risk associated with buying and owning a home. So from a risk management perspective, you would be a lot better off with, say, $10,000 in the bank and a $70 higher payment. Well, let's assume that $10,000 was earning a conservative 6% return in a safe and liquid account. It would take 251 months to deplete that account if you were pulling that $70 out per month to subsidize your payment because you felt you couldn't swing the extra $70 per month. Now, honestly, if you felt you couldn't swing an extra $70 per month for the safety it would provide, then you shouldn't be buying a home in that price range. But remember, most times home ownership gives you tax advantages. So that $70 probably won't cost you $70 because if you were able to deduct the payments on that money from your taxes, so for instance, if you were in the 31% marginal tax bracket, your after-tax cost of that safety cushion is only $50.60. For an after-tax cost of $50.60 a month, it's a lot safer for you and your family to keep that $10,000 in your pocket. So if your $10,000 was in the bank earning 6% after tax and you were pulling that $50.60 a month to subsidize your payment, it would last you only about 889 months or 74 years. Does that make sense? When you're thinking about buying a house, you should always look at the state of the current market. Now, folks, there are opportunities in every market. It just depends on what you're looking for. If the market's going down or if the market is going up, it's really just a guess if someone tries to tell you that the market has actually bottomed out or that the market has actually peaked. We've also found that it's risky to believe the statistics that an interested party might put out there. For instance, the National Association of Realtors tends to be more slanted to get you to either buy or sell. Now, since we are also an interested party to get you to buy, we do try to stay more neutral by utilizing what should be a more neutral source of information, government statistics. For instance, the website at the Office of Federal Housing Enterprise and Oversight, which can be found at www.ofheo.gov, showed that Kansas City from 1977 through 2006, there was only 1 year where home values actually declined, and that was in 1995 when the house values went down 1.21%. But the 30-year average appreciation was 5.51%. With the market being relatively soft, it would be safer to estimate a lower than average appreciation. If the market is heating up, then it may be safer to estimate closer to the average. In Kansas City, we've been very fortunate and unfortunate that we haven't seen the big swings in home values like has occurred on the coasts and in the Sun Belt.